So the first thing that it does is it automates all your key processes, your report cards, your attendance, your fee, your payroll, all those things. So what earlier was a dirty register like this, where people marking their attendance, becomes something like this. It's neat, it's clean, it does all the calculations, does all the computations and so on. Or what earlier was something like this, where teachers scribbling marks and then doing all the calculations, converting into grades, and writing it down becomes something like this. It's neat, it's clean, does all the calculations automatically, or you can plot it as a graph. All this is very neat, very clean. So teachers can save a lot of time, which is become a lot more productive. They don't waste their time doing clerical calculations, and they can instead focus on actually improving learning outcomes. But hold on, frankly speaking, I can do all of this in Excel. Okay, point taken. I need to be an expert in Excel. Point taken that very soon I'll have hundreds of spreadsheets. I don't know which one is which. But all this is Excel. So is an ERP software a glorified Excel? Why can't I do something more? So that is the question that has been haunting us for the last 6 months, and specifically over the last 2 months. And we've been trying to answer this question. Can an ERP software actually go ahead and add value more than what a typical calculator would? So in the process, we've interviewed a number of educators, we've interviewed a number of principals, and we've been asking them, including a fantastic conversation that I had with Deepa yesterday. And we're essentially asking them, what are the decisions they are taking on a day-to-day basis? How are they, on what basis are they taking the decision? Is it on the basis of a gut feel? What kind of data would they look like, would they want before they take a decision like this? And it is on the basis of all these conversations that we've come across 3 broad areas where a beautifully designed database system, a well-designed ERP software can really add value. The first is from a teacher's perspective. Can it help me plan my lecture better? So if I'm a teacher, I walk into a classroom, I'm taking some decisions. I'm deciding which curriculum area to focus on, which strategies to use to nudge students from one level to another, which students to focus on, and I'm taking all these decisions on the basis of, on the basis of my subconscious thought process, something at the back of my mind and so on. So can I take decisions on the basis of data as different from a gut feel? So this is one area that we felt that we can really add value. That was one. B is, can it help me understand each child better? So this is specifically applicable for large schools, not for a school like Riverside, which has just 300 students, and that gives me the luxury to form a one-on-one connection with each child and perhaps even with each parent. But if I'm running a large school, if I'm running a school with 3,000 students, and one of the parents walks in and meets me, what do I say? Do I say your child can do better, or do I say something better than that? Can I go down? Can I come up with some real actionables on the basis of real data? So that's another area that we felt that we could add some value. And the third is, as a principal or as a key stage leader, often I get to know of a problem at the end of the term or at the end of the year. Can my software predict problems for me? Can the software tell me that this problem is about to happen? There's a decent probability that a problem can happen in this section, or with this child, or with this teacher, and so can I be more proactive? Often I meet principals and they say, I just wish I knew it in July, rather than getting to know of it in March or in April. So these are the 3 broad areas that we kept in mind when we started work on the next version of our software, which we'll be releasing sometime next year. And over the course of the next 30 minutes, I'll be sharing with you the rough contours of this next version, and I'll be very happy if you can share your candid feedback, what you like in it, what you don't like in it. Is the thought process right? Is the problem that we're trying to solve, is it a real problem or is it an imagined problem? So that's the core purpose of this presentation, not a pure sales pitch. So what I'll do is I'll first begin with the teacher dashboard. Can you just show that? So this is the screen of, before I move ahead, any questions, doubts, concerns at this point? No. Okay, so this is what a teacher typically sees when she logs in. She's got her important links here, her salary slips, her leave record, her tax statements, all of that on the left frame. On my right frame is my wall, so everyone's writing to my wall, my principal, my co-teachers, my HOD is writing to my wall, my parents can also write and so on. And this is my timetable for the day. So it's showing me which student is absent, which student has a birthday today, and stuff like that. But at a very top level, the first thing I want to know is how is my class doing? So I click on this icon. And it shows me how my class is placed at different assessment cycles. So how were they placed in July at the end of the first assessment cycle, how they moved from July to September, and how they moved to November. And so these grades is what Riverside is using, but a CCE school would instead see A+, A, and so on. So you would see how your children are moving across these things. So I realized that from July to September, there was a tremendous improvement. So a lot of students who were novice moved over to, there were fewer novices there. But from September to November, there's not much change. Thoda sa change hua hai. One student is perhaps moved from competent to expert, but there's not been much change. So I need to just go back. The software is giving me real feedback. So maybe I was doing certain things in July to September, which I need to take further, or I need to do something else. If I click on expert, it will tell me which student was at expert level in July. I move to September, it shows me 2 more students had joined Dhruv, and I move to November and I click on expert. It will show me that Dhruv is dropped out. So someone who's doing really well has kind of dropped out. That's a point of view. Maybe I need to talk to that child. Maybe I need to have a word with him. So this is how a teacher is really taking decisions which will influence her teaching pedagogy, the strategies that she's going to use on the basis of real data. The difference is, a rough analogy is a pilot deciding to switch on the landing gear. When he feels it's right, he's getting a gut feel that he needs to switch on the landing gear, or he's seeing the altimeter reading going below 1,000 feet. So that's the kind of difference that we're talking about. How real data can really empower teachers to take real decisions. So so I get a good idea of what my class is doing at top level. Let me go back. And I see today's timetable. Now I need to plan my next lecture. So I click on next. So tomorrow is a holiday, so it goes to 12th of December. And I have to teach World War II in 9th A history. So as a first step, I could leave my students with some kind of pre-content so that the kids are expected to go through that content. You can just click on that before they walk into the class. So that ensures that the kids are warmed up to the topic, and I'm not wasting my time repeating basic facts, which I can easily share on the web. Then I go back. I'm teaching World War II, so I leave a small topic on the discussion forum. Did USA help in winning the World War II? And everyone's responding to it. So people are coming out with their own ideas, their own understanding of the whole thing. So before I walk into the class, I already have an idea of what kind of conceptions or misconceptions my students have about World War II. And I can really, really tailor my lecture delivery accordingly. So maybe Akanksha Sharma has certain thought processes which are very nice, so maybe I would ask her to come and share with the whole class. Or maybe I need to have a word with Akanksha separately, to help her. This screen shows me which are the students who have not logged in, who did not even bother to log in and go through the content and participate. Dhruv is also here, so maybe that's a pattern. Maybe Dhruv is beginning to lose interest in this thing. He was doing very well earlier we saw, and he dropped down. So maybe I need to have a word with Dhruv. And I also left a small quiz for all my students, and the software is showing me that topic-wise how are the students doing. So the kids are doing very well in nationalism Europe, but in rise of Nazism they're doing really bad. So before I begin talking about World War II, maybe I need to spend another 10 minutes talking about Hitler, how he came about, what was his story, and so on. So now, my lecture delivery is not standard. It's tailored on the basis of real data. How my 9th A is doing, and which could be very different from what 9th B is doing. Maybe 9th B needs some other assistance, and so on. So these are the kind of things, these are the kind of tools that we've created for teachers, and so on. Now I'd like to move ahead to the next area, which is how can a software help me create a better understanding of each child. Okay. So the first thing that we've done is we've created a time machine for a child. Can you show the time machine, please? So this is the time machine. You can go back and forth in it. Can you just go back and forth a little bit? So anything that's happening in my child's life, if he was absent If a teacher wrote something about the child wrote something about himself, the child drew something, everything's coming on one screen. I can go back and forth, I can see what he's doing. So for example, if I click on self-observation, so Akanksha wrote something about herself, she feels that this year she's picked up, so on. If I talk about an observation that that the teacher made, can we click on observation? Social media. Can you click on that? Yeah, thanks. So, Akanksha did something in the class. All of these informal bits and pieces of information which are creating an overall personality of Akanksha, which might not be reflected in her report card. Her report card might not do justice to the complete holistic personality of Akanksha, but these bits and pieces of information which are just lying here or there, I can go back and forth. She took a leave. If the report card was generated, I can click on the report card. Can you click on that? So I see the real report card as well at that point of time. Can you go down? Yeah. So all those kinds of things. So this is a time machine, and I can go back and forth 2 years back, 3 years back, current. What was she doing 3 years back? What is she doing right now? You know, much better information. But this needs a little back and forth. So we also felt that we need to create an at-a-glance view. If I can just see one page about Akanksha and create a complete picture. So can we show the at-a-glance view for Akanksha? No, we need to show the profile. Yeah, so this is all information about Akanksha on one page. A photograph, recent photographs of whatever activity she participated in. I can click on any photograph. Okay, for some reason maybe the internet is not working. I can see her graph of her percentile in attendance, how has she been doing across years. I can flip this graph. Can I flip this graph? I can see, you know, how many books is she reading from the library, how many activities she's participating in across years, is it going up, is it coming down, you know, deep insights about Akanksha. I can then go and actually see her attendance, how many leaves has she taken, for what reason, is she falling ill too often, and so on. I can go down, I can see all her report cards at one place. Let's go, let's keep moving ahead. I can see a fee record. Let's come here, let's go to dossier. All observations about Akanksha written by various teachers. What is she doing? Informal observations. Let's come down. What activities is she participating in? So she was a moderator in annual day. She stood second in the long jump. Portfolio. So if she's drawing anything, if she's writing anything, if she's creating any movies, taking some photographs, all of these will come here. Library. What are the books that she's currently reading? How many books has she read? That gives a lot of insight about the child's personality. Health. Is she falling ill too often? What's her height and weight? So at a glance view, everything about the child on one page. So now when Akanksha's parents walk into my room and want to have a dialogue, I have something better to say than your child can do better.